Welcome back to another in our series of great chapters in the Bible. Our chapter today comes from the Old Testament book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1. We'll begin reading in verse 1, the story of Naomi and Ruth. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went into the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. These took Moabite wives. The name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. They lived there about 10 years, and both Mahlon and Chilion died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the fields of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So she set out from the place where she was with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead, and with me. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband." Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, 'I have hope,' even if I should have a husband this night and should bear sons, would you therefore wait till they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is exceedingly bitter to me for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Then they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you." And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. So the 2 of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi, when the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab, as they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. In the centuries before Christ, all the inhabitants of the earth looked up at the sky and saw hundreds and hundreds of stars and thought, that's all that could be seen. With the slow development of the curved glass over the centuries leading up to the 1600s, it was possible to see even more. With men like Lippershey, Galileo, Kepler, and Huygens utilizing the new technology they discovered, far more stars than ever were thought could be seen. Those numbers kept increasing with bigger and better telescopes that see farther and farther. With all of these inventions, we have come to see how small we are in the universe. Though small, we are nonetheless important. Somehow, seeing further and further has allowed us to get a grasp on how big the universe is, and yet how intricate every detail is in the makeup of the vastness. Even in our own solar system, before some planets and moons were discovered, It was the minute tug of gravity that revealed their presence. I don't pretend to understand how all this works together, but somehow it does, and there are those who can comprehend these celestial workings. I've kept a saying close at hand to help me in times of my own nearsightedness, and I cannot comprehend the big pictures. The years teach us much that the days never know. Time is like a telescope. It allows us to look further back at the unsurety of youth with the wisdom of age. Much I still try to sort out, and like the distant galaxies, I just have to leave it to those who peer through the polished optics to understand it all. In the first chapter of Ruth, we are given a lot of information to sort out, complicated by culture, climate, and the cold, hard realities of life in those days. We are hit by wave after wave of sorrow. Famine had forced them to relocate to this godless and at times hostile country. Death takes her husband and her sons, marry foreigners, and then they die. Naomi is now alone in a distant foreign land. Yes, she has her daughters-in-law, but that's not kinfolk, really. After 10 years, the news comes that there is food again in the homeland. Let's just pause here for a moment and take a slight detour. If you've been to a few weddings over the years, you likely have heard the next verses recited. You know the ones. Do not urge me to leave you or return from following you. For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you. In fact, my wife chose these words to be read at our wedding over 40 years ago. And may I say, I still lack the wisdom. I lack the vision to grasp such a statement. How could my wife have looked 40 years into the future and know her love would burn as brightly? Yes, even brighter than when those words were read. In the same way, I'm awestruck at Ruth's devotion. She is doing what her mother-in-law did a mere 10 years ago when she had relocated to a foreign land. But now she has no husband, no children to go with her, and no God. She will be a stranger in a strange land. In many ways, Orpah makes the more sensible decision. Stay with your people, your culture, and your family. Yet I don't know how the writer of Hebrews overlooked her in this Hall of Faith chapter. Her faith is in every way equal to those listed, I believe. Yet stamped on every line here in this first chapter is the providence of God. We have that luxury of seeing far ahead into the first century where the gospel writers record an obscure genealogy. And Luke records in Luke chapter 3, verses 31 through 32, the son of Meliah, the son of Menah, the son of Mattatha, the son of Nathan, the son of David, the son of Jesse, the son of Obed, the son of Boaz, the son of Salah, the son of Nahshon. But the Gospel of Matthew lays it wide open for us to see in Matthew chapter 1, verses 3 through 6. And Judah the father of Perez, Zerah by Tamar, and Perez the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, and Ram the father of Amminadab, and Amminadab the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salmon, and Salmon the father of Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz the father of Obed by Ruth, and Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David the king, and David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah. Now watch closely as we fast forward for a moment in Ruth and see what our writer records for us in the last chapter of Ruth, chapter 4, verses 18 through 22. Now these are the generations of Perez. Perez fathered Hezron, Hezron fathered Ram, Ram fathered Abinadab, Abinadab fathered Nahshon, Nahshon fathered Salmon, Salmon fathered Boaz, Boaz fathered Obed, Obed fathered Jesse, and Jesse fathered David. They line up perfectly. But how could that writer have known this 1,000 years before Jesus was born? But let's come back to our narrative. For Naomi must make her way back to her homeland, and with it, the sad tale of her misfortunes. She sees the days at hand and relates as much to those who greet her in on the way. In chapter 1 and verses 19 through 21, so the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi, when the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" That name Mara she has chosen is the same name of the bitter water the Israelites encountered in the wilderness in Exodus 15, and the same term Job uses to describe the state of his life following the calamities that fell upon him. I would imagine you and I might feel the same were those misfortunes to befall us. It is no less significant to note that when they entered the town, that the reaction, although the words don't reveal this here, is one of an uproar. For that's what the word rightly means in Hebrew. It's the same word used in 1 Samuel chapter 4 and verse 5. As soon as the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the camp, all Israel gave a mighty shout, so that the earth resounded. And in 1 Kings chapter 1 and verse 45, where it is translated, "The city rang again." This lady who left with a family and a future returns impoverished, widowed, and without children, and this stuns her hometown. What is about to happen, you and I have the ability to see much clearer, having been separated by 3,000 years in the knowledge of the Savior. But an obscure and strange law is about to come into focus that was given hundreds of years before in a faraway place. The kinsman redeemer was a part of the law that was found in Leviticus 25. It provided for just such an occasion as we have that is about to unfold. We're left with one final sentence to set the stage for the unfolding story. In chapter 1 and verse 22. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. It is in this harvest that the woven tapestry of God's providence begins to take on its form. I cannot fathom all that comes together here, even though I can look back in time and with the Scriptures place all the pieces in the correct place. But I can, by faith, accept what Paul says concerning such events. You might recognize this in Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. Can you see it in the book of Ruth? Can you see it in your life? And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another of the great chapters in the Bible.